Welcome back to another episode of the Healthy with Heartland podcast. My name's Justin Freistadt. I am your host, also joined with your favorite creative directors and co-hosts, Simon and Shannon. Good day.
Good day.
Good day.
How's it going? It's going.
I like that. I'm going to start saying good day.
Good day.
That's like the old good day, sir.
It's another healthy day
Very
with
formal.
Heartland.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
So we have a very, very special guest for you all today. Before we give her the proper introduction she deserves, let's send it over to the announcements.
All right. Couple quick announcements for you, Heartland family. If you are ready to restock from home without the hassle, April's reorder special, you can get a box of marinated chicken absolutely free. So we have tons of flavors to choose from, something that the whole family can enjoy. So definitely make sure to take advantage of that between now and the end of April, which is April 30th. Second announcement is if you are in the Frederick area or if you'd like to come to this area, we are going to have a Healthy Kids running series, which is sponsored by Heartland Foods. It's going to be on Monocacy Boulevard in Frederick, Maryland. So make sure to visit healthykidsrunningseries.org if you'd like to get signed up for that. And guys, we're super excited today to have Kristin as our guest. So guys, let's go ahead and get into the podcast.
Awesome. All right. Well, Kristin, I think before we even get started, you have a birthday coming up soon. Is that true?
I actually just celebrated my 42nd birthday. Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
Well, happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Thanks. Successfully got to 42, so we're good.
Awesome.
Something to celebrate for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Yep. And so, Kristin, I know you are a Heartland customer. You're a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
You're a fashion entrepreneur. What we like to call on this podcast as a mompreneur,
Right.
because you do
Yeah.
have children. And one of the first things we really wanted to get into is just a little bit about your background and what kind of like led you to this whole like health and wellness sort of realm.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. So I am a teacher. I am a math teacher specialist. So if anyone needs math support, I can help. But I have been in Anne Arundel County, Maryland for 18 years. And prior to that, I was born and raised in New England. Kind of dropped the accent once I moved to Maryland because I realized we kind of need ours in our vocabulary. And then I once living here for a little bit as a teacher, and I met my husband, who at the time was a personal trainer. We met at the gym. And so obviously health and wellness was always part of our mission and vision of who we are and our values. And so now being parents, it's really important that we, kind of carry that on to our kiddos. And so we make sure and ensure that our kids know that, it's really important to have a healthy lifestyle. So they join us in workouts, they see their dad working out, myself working out, and also eating healthy is really important. And so that is something that we have always valued as individuals, but also as now parents and working together. And so that's really important to us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's an awesome thing that you incorporate the entire family into it. Like you said, your kids are working out with you. I know, I mean, even me as being a kid, my parents, we were military, and it was a hard thing for them to get me out there and run. How do you get your kids to kind of join in on all the fun stuff, so to speak?
Yeah. I mean, it's not easy sometimes, right? So even this morning, I don't like to use bribery, but I always like to say, let's do this together and then you can do X, Y, Z. And so, but my son, he'll tell you he's close to 6, but he's still 5. But he definitely is getting into that mindset of, healthy mind, healthy body means that you're a better person overall. And so he kind of helps drag along his sister a little bit. She's 8, but they see us do it every single day. So my husband wakes up really early, works out. They also see me go down to my basement and work out. They see me go on long runs on Sunday. So I think it's just something that they've always seen. And so I think that they're starting to appreciate that we appreciate taking care of ourselves and health. And so I think that they're starting to kind of get the gist of that a little bit. And then obviously we also own a gym, although we like to call it a private fitness studio because it's not really a gym membership per se. But we also go there as a family so that they kind of get to see what, their dad does and see, all the healthy athletes and, all walks of life come in and work out. So it's really important for them to see that as well.
You keep saying see that, right? And I think it's just the type of leadership, leading by example, is just in my opinion, you can't do any other type of leadership if you don't lead by example. So
Mhm.
that's to me what that is. And I just love hearing that. So I had to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it makes me kind of think too, what got me into fitness or running. People often say, like, do you like running? And I actually like it. People might think that I'm crazy for it, but it's kind of my zone, like my zen. A lot of people choose maybe, going for yoga or massages. But for me, that is how I relax. But I look back and I'm like, how did I get into running? I don't even know. And it's because my dad, he would wake up every morning, 5 o'clock. And once I was at a certain age, he would invite me. And most days it was very hard for me to get out of my bed as a 12-year-old to go running with my father. But I did. And I honestly think that he just kind of got me into that mindset, and just continuing to do that with my kiddos is really important.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's almost like a full circle moment for me, because we started off and I was forced to run. And so like I said, my family was like, it was PT. So it was like, oh, no, you don't have a choice. You're going to run. And so then I kind of developed that mindset of like, wanting to be rebellious and being like, I'm not going to run at all. Like, I don't want to do this. And then later in life now, like Shannon will tell you, now I do enjoy it. And it's something that like we want to incorporate into just, like when we have kids, if we have kids, it'll be like one of those things that we want to incorporate the same way that you're doing. Because, I noticed that the way that in which it was portrayed to me probably was the wrong way. Not that it was anything wrong with what we were actually doing, but forcing kids, I feel like maybe isn't the right way to do it. And I want to approach it more of your style of way, essentially, is being like, hey, so let's do this before, and not like if you don't run and you don't exercise, you don't eat kind
It's
of
like a punishment.
Yeah. And there's a fine balance between that, right? So I oftentimes, talk to my husband about that. Even when we have that choice of eating healthy and options for our kiddos, I always say to him, we need to make sure that we're educating them why we're picking these foods for them, as opposed to, you have to eat this. And so even yesterday we went out to lunch, and all the kids, there were 7 of us, like crazy parents bringing 7 children out to lunch is whatever. But so they had their own table, and all the kids ordered their drinks. And, for my children, they just drink water. They don't drink soda. They don't drink milk. They don't drink lemonade or anything of that nature. And so it was just really nice for them to say, like, I'm not going to have lemonade because it has too much sugar, educating them as opposed to saying, no, you can't. And therefore then making bad decisions later. So but it's a fine balance, right? So they do eat sugar. Like, we don't, deprive our children, but I think it is allowing them to make their own choice, but understanding why that choice is better.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
Culture.
Like
Drop the bomb on that.
drop the bomb for that, because I applaud you guys for that, because that's a goal of ours. Like Shannon and I, and Heartland in general, like like that's what we want to portray to the next generation that's coming up, right? Is that these healthy choices are sustainable for life, and you can actually do them just because of like what's going on right now, in the world. The other thing you mentioned is you guys have a private fitness studio, not a gym. Can you elaborate on why you guys choose those words?
Yeah. So actually that's my husband. So just in case he watches this replay, I just want to make sure. But no, we actually opened that around, let me see, my years of blending together, 13 years ago or so.
Wow.
And it's a private studio because it really is just appointment based only. So he does private training. There's a few trainers there. There's also PT, there's massage therapy, and there's some chiropractic work. So it's all kind of inclusive. But he just started doing small memberships, like less than 25 people, to just have like a kiosk that they can enter. But his big thing is that he wants to ensure, and we did meet at Gold's Gym, but seeing so many, but just seeing so many people working out incorrectly, he wants to make sure that not just opening a gym and letting people, just do whatever they want to do. He wants to make sure and ensure that they're working to their capacity. So he wants to make sure that their movement is correct, and they want to make sure that all, they're using their weights correctly, and movement patterns are really important for him. And so that's why he's designed it as such. So.
Wow. Again, the pragmatic approach to, why are we doing things, and like getting to the core of like, here's the principles, and then you can build, so much more from those basics, whether it's nutrition, fitness, all the things that you're kind of talking about.
super strong
Right.
core values. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you can work out like that somewhere else, but not here.
Yeah. 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 Maybe you can have him on another podcast because he's
Definitely.
very, very, and there are times where I'm like, you know, as a husband, we kind of, don't see eye to eye all the time, but really he is so uh, intelligent, and he really has his head on right. And he definitely values, like, even my running. I hate to walk in front of him because he's always evaluating where my feet are and like where my hips are, and he's like, you're a little out of alignment. So I just stand next to him now, but he's always thinking, because he really does want your body to move correctly so that you don't injure yourself. He sees so many athletes injuring themselves, ACL, and meniscus tears and all of those things that we hear. And he just wants to make sure that people do the right movements for their body and do some corrective exercises to make sure that they can move properly and effectively.
That's awesome.
So important to
Yep.
Yeah.
talk about,
Yeah.
longevity, which we talk about a lot too, because that's super important.
You guys are the
Yeah.
epitome of like a dynamic duo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dynamic duo.
Yeah, like that's.
Well-
I mean, it's awesome.
Well, most days. No, we're really good. We're a good balance, I think. We balance each other out really well. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to read
Yeah.
something from your, just about you. It says,
Mhm.
I wake up each morning with a growing passion to empower people to style their world the way they look, the way they work,
Mhm.
and the people who surround yourself. The people you surround yourself with makes all of the difference. Sorry, I'm not a good
Mhm.
reader.
no, it's
But-
okay.
but-
It's okay.
But that's awesome. I really like when I read that, it took me back. I was like, okay, can you kind of explain and kind of elaborate on what you mean there?
Yeah. So when you surround yourself with people that make you better, you ultimately get better, right? And so 42 years of life, I've realized that you don't need to be around people that don't bring the best out in you. And so with that being said, I've been trying to really, I get along with everyone, but I really try to make sure that I kind of have in my closest circle people that bring me up, because life is too short to look at it any other way. And so I have a really good core group of ladies that you see right there. That's a small crew, but there is a running group that we are a part of, that people just show up. Women just show up. I mean, men can too, but it just happens to be women right now. And we just run, and you can run a mile. If you just started running, you can run a quarter mile, and we will be there for you. And then there are people that are running, 15 miles. And so it's just really important that you surround yourself with people that bring the best out in you so that you can be the best in yourself.
Proximity is the biggest life hack there is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very true. I might use that in my next post. Thank you.
So speaking of posts, we follow you on Instagram. We see a lot of your posts about, I believe, it's like your fashion.
Yeah. Savvy.
Yeah,
Your
savvy.
business.
Yeah. Can you kind of speak about, how that kind of transpired?
Yeah. So it's very interesting. So as a teacher, I am very dedicated to obviously my work and my job. But when I became a mom and a parent, I realized that I no longer am living from just myself. I'm living for this tiny little thing that's very expensive. And so what we realized is that to diversify our income, it was really important that I found something that really spoke to our values and such. So I actually dove into network marketing, and I was very hesitant because I was a failure prior to that. And so I kind of went in with a little bit of a hesitation, but I realized the amazing network and support that you can get, and just learning and getting inspired by these amazing people that you would never have been introduced to. And so fast forward to the pandemic and having a gym and having to kind of reevaluate how my husband was working. We ended up, like, our basement isn't even finished, and he's training from our basement just to kind of keep things afloat and make sure his trainers are taken care of. And so it kind of got me thinking, what do people really need, and what do people come to us and ask us about all the time? and that is nutrition. Insert Heartland. Also, there you go. There's our chicken. They also come and ask us about supplements and things like that. So, my husband has been he's very meticulous with looking at ingredients and making sure labels and all of those things. So we started kind of diving into that a little bit. And then unfortunately, if a woman asks, what are the best leggings to run in, my husband doesn't really have much experience with that. So I figured I can help support him in that. And so so we decided to go into an athlete wear company. And I kind of looked at a few of them, to be honest with you. And Savvy really spoke to me because of their value. And as you guys can tell, we're big into core values. And so they truly believe that when you feel better and you feel really good and comfortable in the clothes in which you wear and the skin in which you are living in, you are going to do better. And so that gravitated to me because I felt like there are some times where we're not feeling great, right? And so I dove in and I just tried it just like I'd done every other opportunity. And Savvy at that point was only a year old, and now it's 2 years old, and it's amazing. It's a US-based company, inspiring. They are going into more of they started with athleisure wear, and now they're going more into a lifestyle brand, and just their quality, their impact. It's been inspiring. So we started and just dabbling into it a little bit and carrying it now at our fitness studio is what we've been starting to do now.
I think that's a huge thing, especially now with just the athletic industry in general. I mean, when you talk about leggings and you talk about athletic wear, it's something that, a lot of people are really diving into and really looking into. And I think it was one thing we even talked about on the podcast before. They're starting to incorporate like your heart rate monitors and stuff into some of these things.
Yeah.
So it's even, I mean, technology is going to be, pretty wild when it comes to, the athletic wear and that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
So
The other thing too is that I really found interesting, Kristin, that you talk about how they're like convertible. Like it's not just for working out. You can definitely use them for so many other things like day-to-day wear, or if you were going to be, like making it look professional. So I thought that is one thing that made the brand unique from other things that I've seen.
Yeah, that was really important to me because, well, at the time, not going to lie, I was virtually teaching. So I didn't really have to worry about wearing, normal pants. And so, so it just kind of came into my life at that point. But what I realized is that these leggings literally can go from working out to running errands, from work to evening to anything. And so I've really been trying to make sure that people can see the impact that clothes can have, but also that you have to feel comfortable in what you're wearing. And so, but yeah, every time I walk into a school, because I'm not at one school, I work with 16 different schools in Anne Arundel County. And so every time I walk in, teachers that know me, they're like, is that Savvy? Like, it is. More times than not, I am wearing a Savvy. Yes.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, I guess the two things that people were looking to you folks for was nutrition and then supplements. Because we're Heartland Foods, let's dive into nutrition.
Yeah.
Can you just speak to, I guess how Heartland Foods and product quality really plays into a healthy lifestyle? And like, what do you really recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we were introduced to Heartland, which, forgive me, my years are kind of blending together at this moment in time. So has it been like 3 years? I don't know, maybe 4. I don't know. So regardless, when we were introduced to it, we were, our food bill is just astronomical, astronomical. I mean, it was humongous. And what I was finding was that I would buy this really good quality. We've always bought really high quality foods. And so especially with our meats and seafood and all of that. And so we've really made sure that when we do go food shopping, we buy really high quality, but it was terrible to admit, but I was throwing away a lot of the meat because it was organic or fresh. I was finding myself as a working mom of 2, I can't go grocery shopping every day. And so I was finding myself wasting a lot of food. And that's just a shame. I was finding myself freezing a lot of stuff and then it would get freezer burn. And then I couldn't use it. And then defrosting was a pain for me. And so anyways, vicious cycle. So thankfully, Heartland came into our life. My friend Beth actually introduced us to them, and basically her husband, he hit the nail on the head. He was just like, you just need to do it. Like, end of story. Stop hemming and hawing, just do it. And so we had you guys come out, and as soon as I heard that you guys come and you can make dinner, I was like, done. Like, even if I don't sign up, like, you can cook me dinner any day you want. And so anyways, we had you guys in. My husband, we made sure that he was there. And evenings are sometimes dicey because of his work, but he was there, and we were just blown away by the quality. And so obviously we gave it a good go, and we're hooked. Everyone that comes over, it's so funny. We just hosted an event over the weekend, and people were like, "Can we see your freezer?" Sure. And so, some of our favorites, honestly, we're very simplistic people. So we actually tend to marinate our own selves, and we tend to, normally what I make for dinner, it consists of no more than 3 ingredients. And if I can't pronounce it, I'm not using it. So we tend to go with like the chicken cutlets because they defrost super quick and they're super easy. And we just do a ton with them. We make, chicken fajitas. The kids love tacos. We grill it, we bake it, we do all the things. We also go with like the ground bison. We love the bison. My husband I'm not a big red meat fan. And so he tends to love the fillets, the beefalo, I think he gets.
Oh, yeah.
Forgive me. Okay, are they good? Yeah. So that's what he really likes. And then we do like the pork chops and things like that. So we've been trying to dabble and try a few things. At one point I think we bought a duck. I was like, Ryan, why we don't cook duck, but we're gonna try it. We'll try it. But yeah, so the things that we do every day though are definitely the chicken, ground turkey, ground beef, and then also we love the in fact, I didn't order enough last time, is the burgers, the steak burgers. They're so good. And so, so that's what we do.
Awesome. Yeah, we talk about the burgers all the time because it's so consistent. It's one of those things that's easy to cook. Same thing with the chicken cutlets. Yes. Super easy to defrost, or like Shannon does, just puts them in the oven, just lays them all out.
Parchment paper in the oven.
They make a great snack.
Delicious.
Yeah. They are so good, and they're easy. And I think that's why I love Heartland, is that the simplicity of it. I was very nervous at first with the frozen because I didn't have a very good past experience with frozen foods. Let's just be honest. And so that was probably my biggest hesitation. But it's so simple, and it's simplified our life. It's simplified my grocery shopping, and it's just been, literally a godsend for us.
That's awesome.
So I have a unique question here on this topic. So, once you have the service, you see all these things. It's so enlightening. You love it. It's the same story for everyone. Like, why do we wait so long? And a lot of people don't really even give it a chance just because you don't know what you don't know. Right. And you've done a very excellent job with sharing the health. And I just kind of want to hear, what's your approach when you introduce other families to it, that you're able to help them see the light, per se?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I think the top hesitations that I've received is space, right? So they look at our freezer and they think that's what they need, right? And they don't have space for it. The other thing is frozen. People don't like frozen, quote unquote, foods. So that is hard. And obviously they're always concerned about the cost, right? So those are like the top 3 things. And so what I share with them is, how much do you spend on it? So we had to go through this too. Like, how much do you spend on a weekly basis on, groceries? How much do you throw away? Do you go out a lot? And all of those things kind of factoring into that conversation, just having a conversation back and forth and asking questions. What people realize is that they spend money on things because of it. And once they see that Heartland is easy, is simple, they start seeing it in a different way. So I just share it with everyone because honestly, I absolutely love it. And people, joke all the time. They're like, oh, here goes Kristin on a Heartland kick. And I was like, no, guys, you seriously, I kid you not. Like, I never share anything that is not has not impacted my life and made us better and a better, family. And so if I'm sharing it, please know that this is legit awesome. And so people have started to see that. And I think as soon as they start seeing that it is easy and it's not something extra, they realize the impact that it can have.
Yeah. I mean, that's so much of the feedback we get is because of the fast defrost. When life's busy and things are happening, everyone's busy. And, it doesn't matter if you have no kids or 100 kids, everybody feels the same busy. And when you can just decide on a whim, hey, I take it out, I thaw it, I cook it, and it happens faster than you can order something, that's usually, you're taking out the discipline because it's actually the easiest path. Yep. And that's the number one thing I think people can't really envision until they have it.
Yeah,
so true.
I couldn't agree more. And it's funny because the other day we did order out, and it took them like 65 minutes. And I was like, I could have frosted 4 chicken breasts, grilled my vegetables. Why am I waiting for these people to deliver? So, I mean, not to say we don't order out all the, sometimes, but we don't order out all the time. And like you said, as soon as they start seeing, and I've been starting to do some videos of actually timing the, like the length that it takes to defrost. Because a lot of times people don't see that end of things. They just hear me say it, but they don't really truly believe it. And so as soon as they see it, they're like, my friend the other day was like, did it really only take 12 minutes? It took 22 from defrost to cook to everything. And I was like, yeah, it was 22 minutes. Like, did you see the time? So, but I agree with
some
you.
editing effects. Yeah. It can't be true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do. I can do some editing, but that to me, that's a whole new ball game. I don't know how to do that. So
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a bit extreme.
Yeah.
But I'm super curious. So you mentioned you only use it's like 3 ingredients when you are cooking at home. Do you guys follow a specific way of eating?
We don't. So I personally don't. My husband has dabbled into keto and done some other things. Our biggest thing is when it comes to health, and for me personally, and I'm speaking just freely, is that I want to make sure that whatever I decide to do, I can stick with. Like it's a lifestyle, not just a fad. And I've been suckered into a few fads, and they've never lasted. And I've quote unquote cheated and all those things. So I really want to make sure that what the lifestyle that we have is something that I can maintain. And it really is simple. And I always go back to that word simple because I really want to make sure cooking is simple. I don't want it to be a stressor. And literally salt, pepper, really good oil, and the right oil for the right temperature can really just make a meal perfect. And so we've been really trying to do that where we don't do dairy because we can't. And that actually helps us a lot with like marinades and things like that. And then the dressing we use, actually our friends, Tessie Mays, they are good friends of ours. And so we use their dressing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
They need to do Heartland if they're watching. But yeah, so the Vetter family. And so we use Tessie Mays salad dressings because they're just really good ingredients. And that's it. Like if you looked at people come in, they're like, hey, do you have any ranch? I'm like, we have vegan ranch from Tessie's. But yeah, 3 ingredients. I mean, sometimes, obviously I go a little bit above that, but we just try to use things that are staple items that we, I don't necessarily have to go out and buy.
Awesome. Yeah. There's so many, like you said, there's so many different diets and fads. That's why I question it as you follow a way of eating because, like there's different things that you can do. And I'm just so interested because, you and Ryan are in, they're such great shape and your family, your kids are exercising and I'm like, it has to be in the water, something that they're doing. Like, what are you eating?
Yeah.
But that's awesome. And Tessie May, I didn't know that,
that's really cool that you know them.
Yeah.
We're familiar with them, and I think we got on that kick back when we were like following paleo.
Awesome!
They have, like you said, really great ingredients and just super good quality, and they taste amazing. Like I'm obsessed with them. Yeah, the Italian dressings and things like that. So
it's a great family.
Yeah. The other thing you mentioned was supplements. So do you have specific supplements? And maybe when we have Ryan on, this is something we could talk a little bit with him about. But do you guys recommend a specific brand when it comes to supplements? Or do you kind of, dabble in a few different ones? Or how does that work?
Yeah, I follow his lead on that. I'll take I lead the charge in some things, but he leads the charge on others, and that is something that he definitely takes time to look at the obviously ingredients, and he wants to make sure things are pure. And so we really use Thorn um, for most of our supplements. Bulletproof is another one that we use. We kind of use a little bit of each, and so what we've realized is that sometimes when for example, if Ancient Nutrition is another brand we use.
Yeah.
If their collagen isn't, 100% pure, Bulletproof might be better, or another brand might be better. So we really try to make sure that we pick the best out of those. But those are the three brands that we use: is Thorn, Ancient Nutrition, and Bulletproof. Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any specific supplements that are kind of the non-negotiable main staples that are in the mix every month?
Yeah. So the ones that he leaves out for me every morning to remind me to take, yes. Absolutely. And so obviously vitamin D is very important. And so we make sure that we take vitamin D. Vitamin D we also give to our children. And so they have Thorn has, I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but just like a dropper. And so we put it under their tongue. But I just use like the tiny pills. 500. And that's also important is the dosage, is that he's very, very, very meticulous when it comes to dosage, and make sure that we take enough and not too much, obviously. And so vitamin D is a non-negotiable. Actually, vitamin C, being a teacher, I just want to make sure that, I guard myself in all the things. And so vitamin C, I actually need to take more, and I have actually just ran out of it, B complex. We also take amino acids as a supplement as well. And so those would be probably our top non-negotiables when it comes to that. But there are a ton others. And to be honest with you, there's some things that just leaves out, and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm taking. Good thing I trust you.
Yeah, just take it.
I'm just going to take whatever you tell me to take. So, but Thorn, I think, hands down, just a really good price point, a very good brand. And that is something, and he actually carries it in the gym as well. So
Awesome.
yeah. Oh, and Omega, I don't like to take Omegas because they're way too big. But I do take them. That's something else that we take. So
awesome.
Well,
Checking all the boxes.
Right.
Trying.
And then I guess in terms of exercise, you said you're a runner. Is that your preferred method of exercise, or is there another style or way that you go about doing it?
It's funny you ask this, because I was just talking to my friend the other day. So when I first met Ryan, I consider myself skinny fat. I would run, but I had no muscle. And so you need to have that fine balance of, in order to be an efficient and good runner, you need to have muscle. And so I run. I definitely love running. I don't overrun. I probably, run every other day during the week. And then Sundays are my long run. So I run anywhere from like 8 to 15 miles. But that's also my zen. If I don't get that, nobody wants to see me for the rest of the week. If I don't get my Sunday run in, it's not a pretty picture. So every other day of the week, I work out in our basement because of my husband's schedule. So I have kids coming down, and they need this and that, and they need this. And so I'm surprised they haven't even come up here yet. I don't even know what they're doing. I'm probably going to go downstairs, and it's going to be a disaster. But yeah. So so I don't try to overrun. I love running. But I've learned through, obviously, married to Ryan, is that the balance between working and building muscle and obviously cardiovascular is really important. So I try to do a good balance of both. And we don't have many weights in our basement yet. We're going to redo our basement, and we're going to have like a little workout area. But right now it's just better. I use my bands and weights, and there you go. And those are actually weights that my kiddos used. So I used the big ones, and then my kids used the small ones. So it was all three of us working out.
Oh.
But we try to incorporate bands and TRX and things like that, so that way I'm still working hard without the higher weights.
Mm-hmm. It's like the added pressure, I guess, on your joints and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And resistance can be super effective, like you said,
Beneficial,
adding in the bands and things like that.
Mhm. Yeah, it's amazing what your body weight can do. Like
Mm.
body weight is pretty legit. And so, when you move it in a certain way, like a small little exercise, I learned a new exercise on Saturday mornings. My husband does a morning group, and he has some virtual and some in person. So it's a hybrid kind of model. I'm at home with the kids working out, and so he's at the gym, and he did one movement, and he made it look so simple, right? And so all of a sudden we started, and I literally could not walk correctly for like 3 days. I'm like, and I didn't even use any weights. I'm like, how is this possible?
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
but it's amazing. Yeah.
And Justin, you mentioned even doing like hot yoga. It's like the same thing. It's like one of those things that's like you wouldn't think the type
Be
of
getting a
exercise
workout
that you
from
would
it,
get
but-
from it, but
Yeah.
It's just all about changing it up on your body. I mean, if I go do
Mhm.
one of those hot warrior things or hot ISO, I mean, it's literally just body weight holds
Yeah.
in the infrared sauna. I mean, it'll crush you.
Crush it. Yeah, I give you credit because I took 3 of those classes and I was like, oh gosh, this is legit. But it is. It's like you said, they make you look. It makes it, you're like, oh, I just have to hold this pose, and all of a sudden, 3 seconds in, you're like, oh my gosh, how long do I have to hold this for? Yeah.
You start using all those muscles like you never use, and so they all engage, and then that's where that soreness comes from. And the next day, you're like, I guess I haven't used these muscles in a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just makes
or
everything
ever.
else better too. Like when I go from that back to some
Stabilization.
traditional lifts or whatever,
Yep.
the range of motion's better,
Flexibility.
stability, all of it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is so true. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good stuff. Love it. Well, I mean, Kristin, is there anything else that we kind of talked about? We jumped around and talked about a lot of different topics, but I mean, is there anything that specifically you wanted to talk about that I guess we didn't touch on?
I think we did a lot. I think we talked about pretty much all aspects of life, and just making sure that the choices you make are making you better, but ultimately has that domino effect on others as well. So, when people come even over to our house for a meal, they know they're going to get a healthy one. So take it or leave it, but that's what you're going to get. We're not ordering pizza here. And so, so it's just really, important that, what you do and how you do it is really impacting not only you to be better, but also has that impact on others. So it's really important.
Yeah. And I guess if there is anyone who's watching who's interested in have you peak nutrition or in Savvy and kind of getting into that, I guess where can they find you, or what's the easiest way to get in contact with you? And I can include some of the links and stuff in the description when we post but I just wanted to have you tell everyone where they can find you.
Oh, thanks. So, so Peak Custom Fitness Solution, haveyoupeaked.com is our gym, and it's just Have You Peaked, PEAKED. And it's funny because that's like his email too. So every time we give his email, it's like Ryan at Have You Peaked. They're like, what? It's not like Gmail? What's happening? But it's just haveyoupeaked.com. And then for me, I am Facebook. I am private. Shockingly, I know I post a lot, but I am private. So, but they can friend request me. And then obviously I can send them my personal link on Savvy. And as you know, there's great discounts and things like that first-time customers and customers can get as well. So.
Yes, absolutely. Kristin just did a promotion with the leggings, and I got a pair, and they're awesome. I love them so far. So thank you so much for
I'm
introducing
glad you like
me.
them. Yeah.
And, it was a really easy and convenient experience, and they
I have
came.
mixed feelings
good.
about this.
Simon's not too happy about it because there may be more
I didn't know
deliveries
about this.
in the future.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Like, these are the things showing up on the door every week. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
It's good
Yeah,
stuff,
I have similar conversations with husbands. They're like, what did you get my wife into? I'm like, I'm really sorry, but it's really good. And you're going to really like how she looks in them. I promise.
You're going to really love it.
You're going to really love it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day, and we know that you're on spring break. So thank you so much for joining us, for introducing the Heartland family to what you guys got going on, and like you mentioned,
introducing other people to Heartland as well.
Absolutely, yes,
Oh,
introducing
yeah.
other families and sharing the health, like Justin said, and we definitely need to get in touch with Ryan to see if he's going to be available to join us on the podcast as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, he would love it. He would absolutely love it. In fact, he's like, you should do it from Peak today. Like to go into the gym and do it. I was like, I think we'll just stay in our house and you can do it from Peak. So
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
But yeah, no, he would love it. And I appreciate you guys and everything that you do. Heartland has been like I said, a lifesaver for us, making our lives way simpler and healthier at the same time. So thank you so much.
That's awesome.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. And yeah, I guess with that, we're going to be back again next week. Kristin, thanks for joining us. And Justin, you can go ahead and send us off.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Thank you for being here, Kristin. It's been said, how you do anything is how you do everything. And the life you've built with your family is a model for all of us. So thanks for sharing all of that with us. We'll be back next week. And as always, stay healthy with Heartland.